Your hair messy?
Yeah.
Which one? A or B? Oh, it's just A now.
I
B
don't
must
know.
have
Maybe
fallen
I
out.
should just shave my head.
Why? It's already that way. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live. And, well, let's see who's here. We've got Dana is here, and Diane, Marcia, Diana, Stephanie, Barb, Donna, Patsy, Jan. Who else? Pull this down. Nancy, Pamela, Joe, Green Quilts Galore, Kathy, Sue. Did I say Diana Miller? I've got several. I've got Diana's, and I got a Diane and two Dianas. And that's Julie. Jeffrey is here. So hello, everybody, and welcome. And Francis has joined us. So we'll just give everybody another couple of seconds here to get themselves in, and we'll get started with whatever we're going to happen today. I don't know. It's a bit of a mishmash, but isn't it always? It's always a mishmash. I always try to come up with some kind of a topic. And I do have one today, but sometimes we get to it, sometimes we don't. Have a Love is here. Did I miss anybody? I don't think I missed anybody. Anyways, I'm assuming everybody can hear us and see us okay. So, well, I have my monitor on over here and I can. So, oh, Mary's here. Hi, Mary. And now someone said, who was it very early up here? Let me go back, that they've got a lot of snow in Wisconsin today. Where did I see that? That was...
We didn't check the temperature today. It's
well,
right at freezing.
It's right at freezing, isn't it?
Yeah, 0 degrees, 32 Fahrenheit.
Okay, I'm trying to find who said this. I think they had like a lot of snow. Oh, here we go. It was Nancy. She's coming from snowy Wisconsin. 10 more inches in the last 24 hours. Oh, geez. I hope that's not coming our way. I don't want any more snow. I'm done. I'm done with snow. No more snow. Sweet Granny Quilting is here. And Brenda's here. Yeah. Rub it in, Brenda. Another nice day in Waikiki. Yeah, you've got to come from that at some point. So enjoy what's left of it. That reminds me, I guess my sister may be back from Mexico, but I don't know.
She probably is.
She never sent me a text message to say. She usually does. Say that they got home okay. So I don't know. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Marcia. It's chilly and wet in Wilmington. Okay. And yeah, well, today here it's just
blah.
Yeah, it's just blah.
Actually, it's not really sunny. Well, it's sort of bright outside. It's right at freezing 0.
Yeah,
it's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything. So I mean, it's just blah. But anyways, I
don't know if it's going to do anything. I haven't really
Have you checked your weather?
I didn't check my weather.
Well, you check it faithfully usually. Well, he's been busy today. We'll talk about that. Joe says not so much in
Columbus. It's supposed to get 100% snow at 5 o'clock.
Oh, 100% snow at 5 o'clock until when?
Till 5 o'clock.
Oh, well, that's really reliable.
Why, that's in Guelph.
Oh, well, we don't live in Guelph.
No, I know. Hang on. Our location, actually. Snow forecasted. Starts in 32 minutes.
Oh, in 32 minutes, we're supposed to be getting snow. Woo! God, I hope not. Hi, Shirley.
It doesn't look like it's going to last long, so...
Well, that's good. I'm done with it. I don't want any more snow. Done. Besides, it's going to be, what, another week? What's today? Today's the 12th. So, yeah, in just a little over about 9 days, it's supposed to be the first day of spring. Yeah. Groundhogs can't be wrong. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a tiny bit of snow's coming early.
Yeah.
Not enough to do, and not enough for traveling.
Oh, okay, well, that's good. Okay, so what have I been working on? Well, if you saw So Chatty, you've seen this already. But I have a little story with it as well. Let me just get it up here on the screen for you. And here it is. So this is an in the hoop embroidery design, and as I said, if you saw, I did show this on So Chatty on Friday as well. It's for my brother and my sister-in-law as a gift when we go out to Vancouver next month, and hopefully we'll see them. They don't know we're coming yet. I haven't told them, and I'm not telling them until a week before.
Well, just our luck, we'll be gone somewhere.
Or they'll conveniently make sure they are. Oh well, they snooze, they lose. Then I'll bring this home and give it to somebody else, or keep it myself. But anyway, so yeah, this is the second one that I've made. I made one originally that was going to be for them, but I liked it so much it's sitting on our dining room table. So I made this one for them, but I'm making matching placemats as well. Might even make some napkins too, so a whole set. However, the fabric I'm using in this came from my stash, and I don't have enough of it. So I went online yesterday to see if I could get it. It's called Workshop by Libs Elliott for Figo fabric.
Yeah, Figo, yeah.
So anyway,
I was going to say Fido. But
no, it's not Fido, it's Figo. So I went online. I found I could get it from someplace in Alberta, but I held back because I didn't really want to wait for it to come, because I'm in sort of like, these take a long time to make, and placemats do too, because I got to make up the individual blocks. Actually, I can show you what the placemat's going to look like, because I've got one done. Let me grab it. But as I was saying, I didn't have, I figured I'd run out of fabric, and I was looking for my stash for something else that would match it, and it just didn't work. Well, I went online for the local quilt stores here too, couldn't find it, but then we were out gallivanting. What were we doing? Oh, we went over to the Dutch store to get some Long Johns, and Walter had to get his huge bag of licorice, and we picked up few other odds and bits. And so Walter says, well, what about this place? It's over by Belleville. Well, Belleville's a bit of a hike for us. Like, it's about an hour and a half's drive. Mm-hmm. And they close. Quilt stores all seem to close at 3:00 now in the afternoon.
Except for Course of Quilting, it closes at 1
on a Saturday, on Saturdays. But then I took a chance on a place that's in Lindsay, which is a place about, how far away is Lindsay from us?
It's about half an hour, maybe
45 minutes.
40 minutes away.
Yeah, something like that. And lo and behold, on their site, they showed the line of fabric, and they said they had stock. So off we went to that place. Well, it turned out they were only showing 3 in the line of fabric, but they had it all. So I bought a lot. So $330 later, I've got enough fabric to do all of these things. And the lady was really nice.
At first they sort of bombarded us because we were 2 guys who suddenly walked into the place. And Steve, right in her face, said to her,
well, I was right in her face.
No, said, well, I want this fabric. It's Figo. It's all this other stuff. She's looking at it. You're like, okay. Like deer in headlights, and it was sort of like
but I had it on my phone.
You had it on your phone, and so suddenly she realized we knew what we were talking about. Meanwhile, as he's looking at his phone, I'm looking at the racks, and I go, oh, I found one.
Yeah, I pulled that out, and then because they have their fabric in this store. It's called Appleseed Quilt Shop. No, it's Appleseed.
I think it's Quilt Shop, Appleseed Quilts or something.
Or maybe something like that. But I thought they had Workshop in their name too somehow.
No, I don't think so.
But anyways, and I had been there before. Their prices are a little, well, actually the price wasn't that bad on what I
thought
bought.
Their prices were a little high last time we were there.
Yeah, last time we were in there, we thought they were like over $20 a meter. Well, as it was, the stuff that I bought was $19 a meter. And we're spoiled because, Shirley sells hers at $16 a meter.
It's Appleseed Quilt Works.
That's it, Appleseed Quilt Works. Anyways, we found all that I wanted, and then I bought a few other things too. I was there, of course I did. And the lady and I were talking. She's a retired school teacher. She was a family and consumer studies teacher. She retired about 2 years before I did. She retired in 2010. And it was her store. And a very nice lady. We had a nice conversation the whole bit. And so anyways, I got all the fabric that I need for it. And I have a much better opinion of that store. I think time we went before, it wasn't her that
No,
was
it
there.
wasn't her that was there, and the lady that was there kind of
She was a little bit gruff.
she was a little bit non-inviting, if you
Yes,
want
not
to.
inviting, whatever with it. But anyways, I will go back there now. Actually, they have a really good selection of fabrics. They got a lot of stuff. But anyways, here's what I was talking about in making the matching placemats. So it's 2 of those blocks and then bordered in the whole bit. And I'm just doing a little stitch in the ditch just to hold the layers together because there's already quilting on each of the blocks as well. And I'm actually using Invisifil thread on this as well. So you get the texture, but you don't see the any color in it because I figured I don't need any more color with it. So I want to make 4 of these, and there are 8 of these blocks in total that are in the table runner. So I'll use 2 in each one of the placemats. So each placemat will be slightly different, but the same sort of color scheme in it. And yeah, but it's
Somebody's asking if
one.
it's new owners at in Lindsay, and I
No.
don't know of them being new owners. She didn't really say that.
Well, she said she
owner.
opened that store after
Yeah.
she retired because she wanted something to do because her husband was still working and he
Yeah.
wasn't retired. So no, it's the original owners. As far as I know, seems to be. So I saw another question up here. Hi Nadine. And Janet's here. I'm just trying to catch up here on people that came in while we were talking. So I said Nadine, Janet Lloyd, beautiful day in Northwest Texas. 8 to 9 days until spring, 2 months to no snow. Yep. Nancy likes the table runner. Oh, Jan's slurping and drooling. Yeah, of course, Jan. Well, Jan,
If
you
you
might
got
wanna
that
get a bit-
embroidery machine out of the box.
yeah, if you got your embroidery machine out of the box there, or at least started using it, Jan, you could be making these too. Yeah. Francis says we've been having a combination of rain, snow, and slightly warmer temps. I've not heard of flooding here, but central and western Nevada are suffering a bit. It's been a weird year for weather, but then last couple of years have been. Is that global warming? I don't know. Julie says, did you do the runner on your table in the same fabric as this one? No, totally different. In fact, the one on the table is mostly batiks that I did it in. Oh, Cheryl's here. Hi, Cheryl. And Sally's here. Tracy's here. Karen is here. Did I say Sally? I think I did. Burgess. I can't keep. We need a moderator because I can't keep up with the questions. Yeah, well, that's the point of it. They're not supposed to line up. I know it, you think it should, but they don't. And if you see the picture on the pattern too, that's the whole point. It's a New York beauty style of kind of thing. And you can do anything with New York beauties. Hi, Sly. Hi, Marilyn. Yeah, actually, Marilyn, what I use, you could use regular batting. I use something called Battleizer. Battleizer is a batting, but it's a very denser batting. It doesn't have as much loft as your regular batting. So on placemats and table runners, if you use it, which is really what it's intended for, it makes them lay flat, but at the same time gives them a little bit of, oomph to them as well. Because you don't want something that, you put a dish or a glass on and it's going to go, tippy all over the place. It's called Battleizer. I buy it by the 15-yard bolt from Monfil that you've heard us talk about before. But you can get it in quilt stores too. Oh, we're talking French now. Andy's here. Hi, Andy. And Laurel's here from Hawaii. Got 2 people from Hawaii. Yay. And Lydia's here. Okay, so that's what I've been up to. And I'm determined that I'm going to get this done by the end of next week. I have a quilt still to quilt too. and whatnot. So Walter's been busy. He showed this on So Chatty as
Yeah,
well. But
I haven't finished it yet. I'm even though on Friday, I'm just missing a few buttons, and then I'll
we'll
be done.
show it because there'll be some people haven't seen So Chatty yet.
I
Or
mean, I
maybe
got all
never.
the buttonholes done, but I don't have the all the buttons sewn on. So this is Steve's cat
It's
shirt.
my kitty shirt. Jan will like that.
So yeah, I've been working on it for a while, and I just went back to it again, and I've got it pretty much finished. I just have a few buttons to put on, and that's it. I've been busy the last couple of days with other things.
Yeah,
so.
we're going to come to that in a minute. But when we were up at the quilt store, Appleseed, Walter bought some variegated threads by
A Metler.
Metler, yeah.
We're up there. Metler seems to be hard to find around here, and not that I really were going out of my way to get Metler, but I do like having a few types of variegated threads around. If I have a busy shirt I'm doing, I sometimes like to stitch in with variegated instead of just plain thread.
The threads are very, very pretty that he bought. In fact, I said to the lady, the owner of the store, I said, do you think you could long arm with these threads? And she says, I don't know. She says she doesn't really have a long arm. She sends anything that she makes. She has a long armor that she deals with all the time for it. And she said her long armor usually used glide. And that's what I use all the time.
Did she say that she went to Fourth Quilting for her?
Oh, that's right. She went to
Yeah.
Quilter Quilting to get it done. Yeah. So which is where you've heard me talk about Quilter Quilting, and I buy glide from them, and I buy it from Tracy at Whirls and Swirls as well. But that's all I've really ever used. Now I tried some variegated that I had in Superior thread and in there was another one. Oh, it was no, what was that? I can't remember now. The other brand I had out there that I had a variegated in. Oh, Floriani, that you got me.
Yeah.
Lucy did not like those threads. It was breaking all the time. So I gave up. So I don't know. I didn't try. I asked the lady and she said she wasn't really sure. So I don't know. Anybody out there long arm and have used Madeira threads for their quilting? Let me know about that, how that worked
Well, you
out
can
for
try it out on ones that I've got.
Yeah, I could. I'll just try it out on a little piece, maybe something like a table runner or something like that. Diana says, love it. You won't lose Steven in that shirt. Oh, yeah, he tries though. Joe wants to know, using cat buttons?
No, I'm just using plain old black buttons. I did have an idea that I was going to use different colored buttons, but I thought it would just get lost in the fabric because the fabric is like so bright.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want cat buttons.
No.
That might be just a little too cute for me.
Yeah. It's we are still guys.
Oh, Cheryl, yes, I intend to do that. Yes, I'm going to wear the shirt in Halifax. Yep. That shirt is, Jan says, Real.
It's actually quilting cotton I bought online from fabric.com when it was there. It was really cheap price on sale. So
yeah. So anyways, yeah, I like it. And I've seen lots of other fabrics I'd like shirts in, but my tailor is not very fast.
no, I know I'm not.
He gets busy with other things. We're coming to that. I keep saying that, but we are coming to that. Derek's here. He says, oops, late to the party, forgot the time change. Yeah, I wonder how many other people have are screwed up with the timing on this, because we went ahead, early this morning, 1 hour ahead, spring ahead kind of thing. Ron's here. Hi, Ron. That is my next thing to try in the hoop applique. Well, come on, Ron. Get on with it. You and Jan.
It's actually really easy, Ron.
Yeah. Maybe I should run for just you guys a little private Zoom tutorial or something, or we work on a project together.
If you do something really basic, I haven't done anything like as advanced as Steven's done, but if you do something really basic with in the hoop applique, it's really, really quite easy to do.
Well, once you've done it once with something, it's the same principle for anything that you do, basically. So yeah, maybe Ron and Jan, maybe on a craft and chat day or a pop-up sew day, we could decide in advance about a little project, all have the same project and work on it together. And, you guys run into problems or whatever, I can help you out. Think about that. Let me know what you think of that idea. Now, for that matter, could be anybody else too that wants to do it, kind of thing. Um, uh, Stephanie says I use King Tut or Glide, so no, it can't give you any help. I didn't think of the King Tut. I do have some variegated King Tuts as well. Maybe I should give the King Tut a try and see how
Maybe
that
for
works.
Jan's birthday.
What? Maybe for Jan's birthday? Yeah. That shirt is perfect. Tracy's here. Sherlock. Hello, Sherlock. Yeah. Cheryl says maybe you need to pay your tailor more. My presence here in this house is payment enough. It's more than enough. He owes me. Yeah. That's what I'm sticking to. Jan wants to do that. Of course you would, Jan. Well, we'll talk.
He lets me out of the cage every once in a while.
Right. To eat the tree. Steph says maybe for Jan's birthday. Yeah, well, we're coming up to Jan's birthday, so we'll talk about that too in a minute. Stephen needs cat shorts, Walter. No, I draw the line. I draw the line. Don't be trying to dress me up funny, Jan. Julie says, isn't the sew day on the 18th for Jan's birthday? A tutorial for embroidery is a good gift. Oh, here we go. I should know better than me. Yes, March the 18th. Well, let's talk about that right now, shall we? Yes, next Saturday, March the 18th, in honor of Jan's birthday. Jan, is this your 75th? I believe this is Jan's 75th birthday. Yep. She's falling apart, but she's still hanging in there. I'm waiting to get a reaction out of Jan here. We are having a pop-up sew day. The link for the pop-up sew day I've put in the show notes for this today, so when this goes back to rebroadcast, you can check that out. I will also be sending it out to everybody on the mailing list for the pop-up sew day as well, and it'll be in everything that I put up next week too. So that's next Saturday. I open the doors, so to speak, the virtual doors, so to speak, at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're still confused about our time here, if you don't do a time shift or whatever, you might want to go onto the internet and see what time it is for you. And I'm not even going to try and suggest what time it is, because I know when we do the time shift thing, it's always a little bit confusing. But 8 a.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time, and we'll run for the whole day till probably about 5 p.m. and bring whatever you want to work on in honor of Jan's birthday. Jan told me that we had to have it for her birthday. You better be there, Jan. So anyways, yeah, Jan, maybe we will do a little project together. Maybe I'll send you a file and tell you what you need for something simple, and during the pop-up sew day, we can work on it together while everybody's working on their things and whatnot. And if you run into some problems, maybe I can give you a hand with that. Okay, so we talked about that. On Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., we have Sew with Stephanie and Stephen again. We didn't have that many people at the last one, but that was what we had was quality. And that's okay. It's just there if you want to join us. And the deadline for getting in, for those of you that took part in the sew along with Stephanie and myself back a few weeks ago with the Stargazer quilt, if you have your Stargazer quilt completely finished, means bound, quilted, the whole bit, and you want to send me a picture of it, that would be great. But send it to me by March the 18th, because then Stephanie and I are going to take any pictures that have come in, and we're going to do a little slideshow, trunk show of all those quilts, and talk about each one, what we like about them. And then we're going to cut them right up and criticize every little mistake that you've ever made and have a lot of fun and giggle at it and go, ha ha. No, we're not going to do that. We'll leave that to Walter. No, don't worry. We won't let Walter see them. For it. No. We're going to look at everybody's beautiful creations. And if by chance you don't have it done by March the 18th, don't sweat it. It's not a big deal. You can send it to me anytime when you get it done, and I will feature it on my channel on Idiot Quilter, like I usually feature a quilt every week from somebody. So yeah, so there's lots of opportunity. You don't have to feel like you're being pressured into this, okay? So that's coming up. And now, retreat. All right, tomorrow, 10 a.m., I am releasing a short video that explains what you need to know about the May 6th Idiot Quilter Spring Retreat. All the details will be there. There'll also be a link to a document, a printed version of what I'll tell you, that you can download and read at your leisure or keep as a guide. I'm going to open up registration on May the 15th. So that is Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. And you have up until May the 1st to reserve your spot. It is free. It's always free. But I need to have you register for it simply because I want to make sure I get you a spot, because I do have limited spots with it. So all those details are in the video that will come out tomorrow morning at about 10 a.m. And as I said, there's a written version as well. And then once you're on the list as well, I will keep you up to date with any other announcements or things that go along with the retreat. And we always have an icebreaker party the night before on the Friday night. So on May the 5th at 7 p.m., there'll be a Zoom cocktail / icebreaker party. And all the details will be about that will be in the video about that as well. So I know it's a bit in advance, but there's a reason for that, because we're going to be away for the second half of April in Vancouver. And I'm going to take some equipment with me, which will probably allow me while we're away to make sure I get anybody who decides to send an email at that time about registering for it. I'll be able to handle it there as well at the same time. But I'm hoping that, you know, when you have this advance of notice, you're able to, if you really want to come, you can adjust your calendar, because there is a little segment in there about what I do to people who take a spot and then at the last minute decide they're not going to show up. You'll have to see the video to see what I'm talking about there. Okay. Well, Julie, there's a procedure for signing up. I will sign you up, but you got to follow the procedure. You will find out about that in the video tomorrow. Okay. Let's see what else there. Oh, Judy says she's teaching on Wednesday, so she can't sew till late in the day. Well, that's okay, Judy. I mean, you know, doesn't work for everybody. That's fine. Cheryl says she just needs to bind her quilt. Hope to get it done today. Okay, great, Cheryl. Okay. Oh yeah, and on my retreat as well, for those of you who've never been to one, I have 3 guest speakers, and I do talk about those in the video as well. One of them is our own Stephanie Stitches right here, and we have Russ from Quilt Meets World, and we have Sean, the guy who sews. And they're all giving presentations as well, which they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart, and I appreciate it very much because they're not getting paid for it. They just have my undying gratitude for all of time with it. They'd probably rather have cash. Okay. Julie says Procitor.
Is that French?
I don't know. I don't know what that word is. You might have to explain, Julie. Okay. So I think that's all the announcements. So, update on the coffee maker. We're enjoying it. I think it was worth the money that we spent on it. What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I really do.
Walter came home with all these different, what are they, syrups or something?
Yeah, we haven't really used them, but that's
No.
okay. I was just, it was a whim, but we did, yeah, I did the caramel syrup you tend to use.
I made a caramel macchiato. And that turned out really good. And it was easy to do because there is a setting for macchiato on there. And then these syrups, this caramel syrup, there's one you got that's sort of a clear, it's
just a sugar syrup.
It's just a sweetener.
Because I read in how Starbucks makes theirs. And basically they put sweetener in the bottom of the cup, and then they add the espresso, and then they add the froth and everything. And then they add caramel on the top.
Yeah. And it turned out really good. I really quite like that. You seem to be drinking a lot of cappuccinos.
Yeah, I've been drinking cappuccinos. I like it. And it's nice because I mean, in our old system, we have a milk frother, but it's manual, and just pulling that out is a bit of a nuisance. So with this one, it has the built-in milk frother, and it's really easy to use and easy to clean. So
Yeah, and
and it does it as part of making the beverage. It puts in the right amount of coffee and frosts the milk for you and everything. It's kind of cool stuff.
and what I've been doing with my morning coffee is I do a cafe crema, which is this the process it does. It's
It
not
does
milk.
something to the coffee itself that I think it injects air into it.
Yeah, maybe. So you
And
get this little white layer of. It's not really a foam. It's
not really a white layer. It's more of a brownie color.
okay.
Not a brownie, a yellowy colored layer.
okay. I stand to be corrected. It's an off-white.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I also give it a little. You can set it up so you can get an extra shot of espresso in it. So I do that as well because
It
I
helps
kind of
you
like
get
the taste of
wired,
it.
right?
Yeah, I like that. It gets me going. I only have 2 cups of coffee a day. They're this big. It's like I only have 1 glass of wine a day. It's this big. Well, I can't get my whole arms in here. There we go. But yeah, I think it was worth. I mean, it was an expensive thing, but I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. So, I did try an experiment with it. So, it has a milk frother, as we were saying, that's attached to it, and you just pour your milk into it, and away it goes automatically. Like if a coffee calls for that in one of the settings.
And you can put other stuff in it other than milk if somebody likes almond milk or
Yeah, you
something
can
like
use
that,
those other milk substitutes or whatever you call them, or the fancy creamers, the carnation flavor creamers. But I thought I'd try chocolate milk and see how that worked out on a cappuccino. Well, yeah, it works, but I think part of the problem is you'll get more froth if you're using closer to whole milk.
Yeah.
Like if you're using Homo or 2%, we have skim. And the skim white milk seems to work okay with it. The chocolate, not so well. It didn't really add any taste. You think might taste a little bit more chocolatey. It didn't. So, but I want to see what that was like. So experiment with that too. So what are people saying? Sherlock says, that's why I don't sign up. Don't want to take away from others. Also, the hosts don't need to the headache. Well, Sherlock, it's not so much signing up and then, you have to drop out, because I will keep a waiting list. If I fill up, I'll keep a waiting list. And so when I know that you have to drop out, I will go to the first person on my waiting list and I'll plunk them in and I'll send them an email and say, hey, I had a dropout. So here you go if you want this spot. The problem I had, and I've had this problem several times, is that somebody doesn't show up at all.
Or it doesn't show up. And even if on that day you don't show up and you write and you say, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it today, even though I signed up, at least that's something.
It's not the end of the world in that. It just means because, life happens. You can't predict everything. An emergency or something like that has happened. But I had some people who didn't bother to even after the fact send me an email and go, I'm so sorry I couldn't show up because I had my grandson was really sick and I had to look after him because his parents had to be somewhere or something for that. Okay. Like I said, life happens. That's not a problem. I completely understand. But I had some people who signed up.
So they said they were going to come.
And they said they were going to come for sure in the whole bit. And then
nothing.
And I never got any information from them afterwards or anything else. So I think that's just rude.
Like, I mean, things happen in your life you have to go out for some reason. All of a sudden that day, well, you weren't prepared to do that, or somebody drops in on you or something like that. Well, you can write that. There's nothing holding you back writing and saying, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it today. I had something happen. So,
Well, the other thing is this. I'm not asking anybody to pay anything for this. This is free. Okay? It does cost me some money. Okay? But that's okay. I'm not that concerned about that. But if I was to charge a fee, say a non-refundable, and I've thought about this, a non-refundable registration fee of say $5 or $10, meaning that, okay, you can register when I get your money, and then I put you in, but there's no refund. If you cancel for whatever reason, you're not getting your $10 back or your $5 back. That becomes a logistical nightmare as far as I'm concerned. That's
Yeah,
just,
I mean, you gotta keep track of that
yeah,
stuff, and
and I don't want to do that for one thing. But you know why I would do if I had actually was going to do that is because people think it's more of a commitment when they have to pay for something. They don't want to lose their money, even if it's a small amount of money outlay. They don't want to take the chance that they're going to lose their money. Okay.
it's like the shopping cart syndrome, where you
Yeah. So there's lots of people who get all gun ho and say, "Oh, I can't wait for this," and they'll sign right up at the very beginning, which is great. That's fine. But then they change their mind for whatever reason. Or what I like to say is that something better has come along. It's not because life happened. It's because,
you got a better offer.
they got a better offer or something like that. Okay. And if they had to pay money for it, I think they would start to wait. Well, I don't really want to lose my money on this. So you see, but as I said, I'm not doing that with it. But if something happens, if you sign up, you sign up next week or something like that, that's fine. And then 3 days before or something comes up that you can't avoid. Okay.
Or you just suddenly decide you don't want to come anymore.
For whatever, you can just send me a quick email, say, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it." And I'll go, "Okay, that's sorry. It's looking forward to having you, but life happens." And I'll just go to the first name on my waiting list and drop them in, send them a note and say, "Okay, you're in." Had a spot open up. That's not a problem. It's the ones who just nothing. It was radio silence. And if you watch the video when it comes up tomorrow, I do talk about that. And maybe it seems like I'm being nasty to those people, but I know who those people were. And they're on my blacklist. I actually recorded who they were. And if those people decide that they want to come to this one, and unless they write me a long epistle telling me, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I should have sent you a note, blah, 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 blah," kind of thing, I'm just going to put them on the bottom of my waiting list. If spots are available, I will put them on, but they're not getting in ahead of other people who are, making the commitment. I guess that's what we're talking about here. Commitment. And in this day and age, a lot of people don't make commitments. And I have a problem with that. I really do. I mean, we've had opportunities in our life where we actually got a better offer, but we had already said we were going to do one thing. And although we might have been tempted, we didn't, because we have a very strong sense of responsibility. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, you do it. Okay?
Like if somebody invites you to a dinner party and then somebody else comes in that you like better and says, "Let's go out tonight instead of skip your dinner party. Let's go out tonight."
Yeah.
And even though that sounds like a better offer to me, I would say, no, I already told these people I'm coming for dinner, so I'm coming for dinner.
Yeah. That happens a lot in our world. And when I say our world, I mean the gay world. You get gay men are sometimes hard to nail down to us. They're the ones that invented the whole thing about, I'll pencil you in. I don't pencil people in. I pen them in magic marker, indelible ink, whatever, permanent ink. Because if I say I'm going to do it, I do it. Short of death, I do it.
How many times we haven't been somewhere and somebody phones up the last minute, "Oh, my dog's sick. I can't come."
Oh, yeah. We've had that. Yeah. Okay. Wasn't your dog sick the last time we invited you over? You just don't want to have anything to do with us. So just say that. Our feelings won't be hurt. Bastard. So what are people saying here? Back it up. Okay. Ron says, "If you don't show up, it will be merciful beheading." Beheading sounds good. Merciful? I don't know how merciful it was. I want to make them suffer. Yeah. I'm just like that. What can I say? My payment is him being my friend. He paid me to say that. True. Yeah, I just found that out the other day, Diane. I didn't realize it was National Quilting Day. Of course, that pales in comparison with why we're really having the pop-up sew day, because it is an international day of celebration and holiday because it's Jan's birthday. Yeah. So Jan, what birthday number is this? Is this your 80th? Julie says, she's saying it's a joke for Jan's birthday soda. Is that true, or are you just saying that's a joke? No, actually, Julie, that's true. In fact, I just saw something this morning where they said that that was happening. Julie says, well, that's quite serendipitous. I love the word serendipitous. I use it as much as I possibly can. I just can't spell it. Diane says, Julie, I saw it on another video from... Yeah, that's where I saw it too. Diane. Cheryl says, you both are going to have withdrawal symptoms when you go on vacation.
I doubt it.
What, from doing what we do?
Yeah.
Well, he won't. I actually, I need the break. This afternoon, I just laid on the television and watched a documentary about the reign of the Stuart Kings in 17th century England.
Oh, really exciting stuff.
Well, I like it. I like watching things like that. But I mean, I got up this morning and I worked on those placemats, and so I was a little sewn out. Oh, it is Lorraine. Laurel. It's Laurel. It is a lot of fun. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be doing it. Yes, Ken, no show. It is common courtesy. That's the way I think. It's just good manners, you know. Yep, doesn't take long, Barb. Send a quick email. Once you accept an invitation or sign up, you are accountable for your whereabouts to your hosts. Yeah, but you know, some people don't feel that way about it, as I've said. Scrunchions. I don't know how to say that.
Scrunchions.
Yeah, but she said, yep, ban them. Hi, Marianne. Hi, Katie. Yeah, people do forget that. Quiet Place, hello from Georgia. Sorry I'm late. That's okay. Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, Gail, okay. Nope, we haven't seen you for a while. Julie says she hosted a Tupperware party for her sister in the 1990s. I invited 20 women from town. Not a single one RSVP'd and none of them showed up. Total flop. Wow. That's kind of bad. Like, really? They could have at least lied to you. You know, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. My dog broke its leg, and my husband, when he was taking him to the vet, got into a car accident. And then the little guy next door that was crossing the street when my husband was taking the dog to the vet, he got hit. That's why yeah, they could make a story.
Withdrawal from our coffee maker.
What's that?
Withdrawal from our coffee maker.
Oh, yeah.
You know, well, there's bound to be another coffee shop around.
Hi, Persetta. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't drink that much coffee.
I don't either. I have a cup or two in the afternoon usually.
Walter does the European thing. In the late afternoon, he enjoys a coffee and a cookie.
I'm doing what my parents used to do. My mother always made him a coffee in the afternoon with a cookie.
But you see, if I drink coffee in the afternoon, I'll be awake. Yeah, I'll have trouble sleeping.
It's to keep me awake.
No. Yeah, well, your day doesn't start until about 5 in the afternoon. So, yeah, that's the difference. Okay, so another thing. You know how we've been talking about bath fitter? The people who were supposed to come here did come here to fix the base unit that was cracked in our bath fitter surround shower stall that we've had since 2005 or 2003. And it's been, you know, base unit has been replaced before as well, back 10 years after that, 2013. Well, now it's 10 years again, and they're coming in. So the guy came there a week ago, and I was here for 2.5 hours and discovered that the company had sent him the wrong part. So we had a big hole where the shower base was supposed to be for a week. And they told us that he would be coming back. They would get the new one in by Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and he'd be here on Friday between 9:30 and 10:30 to install it. And I said, okay. And never got a call from them. And I pretty much was figuring there's going to be a problem. They
Yeah,
didn't
they didn't
call.
show up at 9:30. They didn't show up at 10. But about what, 20 after 10?
Yeah, it was just I was giving them until 10:30 to show up, and then I was going to call them and say, and was prepared for them to say, yeah, there's been a bit of a delay on that part, kind of a thing. It was 20 after 10. The guy showed up, and he's got it in. It's in. It's done. Now Walter's got a problem because
Well, it's only a minor problem. The base that he put in is not exactly in the exact same spot as the other one, so my shower door isn't fit back on exactly properly. But I've got it almost on, and it'll work. So
yeah. Anyways, the new base looks very nice, and the guy that came, he knows exactly what he's doing. In fact, he was the guy that originally installed the whole thing back in 2003. He's also the guy that came and replaced the base in 2013, and the same guy as well. He's a bit of a character, and he's skinny as a rake, and he's not a young man. I don't know how old he would be, but I'd say he's probably our age or
yeah,
maybe a little younger, but not much. But he's up and down our stairs.
I don't know. He brings in like a huge amount of tools and supplies with him like crazy. Like the whole
Yeah.
place, it's shower stalls off our bedroom, so the whole bedroom's filled with all kinds of toolboxes and stuff like that. I don't know why he needs that many tools, but anyway.
He puts down 2 pieces of plastic runner to protect our floors as he comes in. He's very, very neat about it. He cleans up.
In fact, he was vacuuming our floor, and I said to him, "You don't really need to do that. We can do that." So.
Yeah. So it's in. It's working fine, or seems to be. We haven't used it yet, but it's not cracked. So
No.
that was the big
No, we're
problem.
waiting for me to put the shower door back in, which I was
Yeah.
starting to do today. I've got it almost in,
Yeah.
but I was running into a little bit of a problem. So, because the part where the shower door fits in the doorway seems to be out by a quarter of an inch or something. And so the screw holes don't fit in the same spots anymore. So
did you have to put new screws?
well, no, I cut a piece shorter, but now I'm worried that the door wasn't going to be level. But the door, I got to check the door. I've been mucking around with the door. The door is in there. It's not in exactly the way I like it. So I'm going to, I need to do some adjustments. It'll be fine once it's in. So.
Okay. So anyways, yeah, that dilemma's over. So our next dilemma is the window that has to be fixed that we had, our transom window that in our new windows. They're supposed to come on the 20th of March.
No, they're supposed to call me on the 20th of March.
And the 20th of March is what? Next Monday.
Yeah, so I'll wait till next Monday, call them again and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
They, like the original window manufacturer said, or window installation company said, remember that window may need to be remade again. So it may take a little while for them to get it in.
Yeah.
So.
I still think we shouldn't have even bothered having to call the manufacturer of the windows. That should have been all handled by the people who installed it. They're the ones that ordered the windows. They're the ones we gave the money to.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, if I called them and then they call somebody else, I have to wait for them to get back to me. And now at least I know if I go directly to the manufacturer, I know where it stands. So
well, yes and no, but how many times did you have to call them and do all that kind of stuff? I would think that the installers would have had more pull than we do with it. But whatever, it is what it is now. So we'll just.
Well, they did tell me that installers did tell me that to keep them up to date because they would assist. So.
Yeah.
Well, just leave
whatever.
it. You're a pain in the ass.
No, I mean $18,000 is $18,000. That would have bought a lot of fabric.
Well, that wasn't just those windows.
I know, but it's the point of the whole thing. So, anyways, whatever. Jan says, "Holy doodle! You just aged me 5 years in the last 10 minutes." Yeah, well, I'm still waiting to have an accurate number. So what? It's your 85th, then, is what you're saying. Okay, if we cut off your leg and count the rings, we'll know exactly how old you are. Derek says, we had 2 feet of snow last week and everyone couldn't get to work. I arranged to give my classes live online so the students wouldn't be disadvantaged. And only 25 of the class of 120 showed up. And they're university students, aren't they, Derek? Because you teach college or university, right? I mean, really? Yeah.
There's dedication for you.
Yeah. Bath fitters, Julie says, are a big business here in the States too. Always advertising. Yeah, I thought you said in the States they're called Magic Tub.
Well, no, actually, I found out later that, yeah, their bath fitters are in the States, but the actual parent company is Magic Bath or something. But that's actually the manufacturer of the stuff. But I guess there's only like one Magic Bath in the States, and they still market themselves under bath fitters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're a big outfit here too in Canada as well. They're always advertising the same. So, now, I mean, we've not really had, we had this base crack after 10 years, the first one cracked. And it has a lifetime warranty, and they do honor that. They do have a slight loophole, but we knew about that, and it's because they have certain cleaners that they recommend, certain products they recommend for cleaning it.
Yeah, so they make a big deal. Actually, the first time we tried to get it replaced, they made a big deal about, oh, you're not using the cleaners on our list. And I always carefully check the list, right? To make sure we're using the right cleaners, even though I think it's a big farce.
Yeah.
Because what I think happens is the only reason these cleaners get on their list is they're giving the company kickbacks for getting their.
They have a wide variety. List. There's over 50. They have listed. I mean, they keep changing the list.
It's a vinyl product, right? And most of those cleaners will work okay on these vinyl products. So, and they make it sound like it's going to break down if you're not using the right cleaner. I don't think that's the case, but
no, but that's their loophole on it. Because it's a lifetime, they guarantee it for a lifetime. As long as we're in this house.
Yeah, I know. If we move out and a house goes to somebody else, then they don't guarantee it anymore. No,
not for them. It's not a transferable
So that's, I think,
warranty.
another loophole for them, because they bet on people not having that same unit for a length of time that like what we have. Or they haven't remodeled their bathroom in such a way that they no longer need that.
And these are not cheap. I mean,
we paid a lot for it.
We paid over $4,000 for what they did in there back in 2003.
Yeah, and I bet you they charge a lot more.
Yeah, probably a lot more than that, because that's like 20 years ago. Okay, so anyways, they're living up to that, and we didn't have that much of a hassle. I mean, just the fact that the factory sent to the installer the wrong part. I asked her when he came in the door, so are you sure you've got the right one this time? Because I said, I'd hate for you to go like you did last time and spend 2.5 hours getting ready to put this thing in, and then you go out and you picked it up and went, uh-oh, we have a problem, Houston, with it. He says, nope. He says, I made sure of that. So, yep, it's the right one. So I said, okay, that's good to know. Kathy says, during COVID lockdown, we had students log in but turn off their cameras and never respond to any questions. Just as frustrating. Yeah, really. Gail's here. Hi, Gail. And Jenny's here. Yep, you're really late, Jenny. You must have. You probably got trapped by the fact that we went ahead an hour. Like the whole province. It's daylight saving time. We had the time shift thing. So another thing that Walter did get around to putting up this weekend, you can see it right between us up on the ceiling. He put up my new light. So now I have 2 spotlight kind of things there. One that shines on one of the quilts over there, and one that shines on the other quilt in my desk over there. I'm very happy with that. And at the same time, he put up new smoke detectors. You know, your smoke detector might be, you may have had it a long time, when originally it was white and then it was a real color of yellow. Like, I'm not talking just off white.
Well, I changed the one upstairs, but I never changed the one downstairs. Should have done that.
Yeah.
I was always on my list of things to do, but Never got around to it.
And we also think that possibly that one didn't work anymore either, but we
Yeah.
didn't know that. So you know what they always tell you about, change the battery in them when you change the clocks, kind
Well,
of
these
thing.
are
But these are
wired in.
wired in with a battery backup.
Well, the new ones are wired in with the battery backup. The old one didn't have battery backup, I don't think.
Oh, didn't they?
No.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, whatever. But yeah, so we're all protected now again. So that's nice. Yeah, so the last couple of days, Walter's been very, very productive. I mean, finishing the shirt, sort of. The shower doors, my new light, new smoke detectors. What else is on the honey-do list? I don't make a honey-do list. Okay, it's just whenever. Yes, Jeannie, he's been a very busy boy. Okay, so here's something. Now, this is sad. This is actually sad. Bit of a downer. But last week, well, you know, Walter goes to bed about 3 o'clock in the morning. And when he came to bed at 3 o'clock, usually I don't ever hear him come to bed because I'm like right out with it. But I did that morning, and I said to him, he says, well, maybe I shouldn't tell you this right now. And I'm thinking, okay, what? Now, when he says something like that, I usually think, okay, it's going to cost money. What has he done? Does it have anything to do with our trips? All this kind of stuff. He said, no, he says, well, and he mentions the name of a friend of mine, a guy that I used to teach with. We did our master's degree in education together back in the late 80s, early 90s, kind of a thing. So I've known him for a long time. He's a retired school teacher too, as well. Walter says he passed away. And I went, what? He was only 2 years older than me. And I said, yeah, but he said he passed away in 2020. I went, what?
and I said to him not too long ago, I said, have you heard of From Dennis lately? And he said, no, I haven't. I wonder what he's been up to. Yeah. So obviously we know.
See, Dennis used to spend, after he retired, he'd spend about 6 months of the year down in Florida and then the other 6 back up here. He was looking after his mother as well because he was an only child, and he lived with his mom and dad. His dad passed away, I don't know how many years ago now it's been. And his mother, of course, was getting up there in age, and so he was looking after her. And then she passed away. So he's living on his own kind of a thing. I mean, he had other friends as well. But Dennis had a very private life. He was always very, you know, out of all the years that I knew him, I didn't really know him. You know what I mean? Like, because he didn't volunteer a lot of information about himself. So when we saw that, found the obituary, he had a heart attack. But that was kind of a shakeup, you know, when you hear something like that. But nobody at all that I knew that also knew Dennis, that were other teachers around, nobody wrote me a message or let me know about this at all. But you see what happens when you retire? All of those people are still working in many cases as teachers or administrators in education and things like that. Once you retire from a profession, you might as well be dead because you never hear from them again. It's like, you know, you work with them for 20 years of your life or longer and that kind of thing, and you hear nothing from them. You don't even, you see them on Facebook, but it's just like you don't exist anymore. So that's, didn't know that Dennis had passed away. That kind of disturbed me a little bit, you know, for many reasons. But, you know, so that was a bit of a shock.
Well, that you didn't have an opportunity to see him more recently or whatever.
No.
Or like, I mean, even in before 2020, you sort of lost touch with him then. So.
Well, because he was going down to Florida all the time. And then he was a vice principal when he retired. And he was doing some supply work as a vice principal as well. Dennis didn't have a lot of hobbies. So when he retired, he kept his foot in the door in education.
Yeah, no, and I didn't have a lot of hobbies. And I would think that my guess is he was doing a lot of traveling when he retired,
Yeah.
and so I could see at 2020, that's the height of when the
Of COVID.
pandemic
Yeah.
started, and he would have been isolated
Yeah.
during that period of time.
So, yeah. So you never know. So make the most of every day, I guess, because you don't know. You might wake up the next day dead. So,
He
yeah.
might not wake up the next day.
Yeah, I know. There's a bit of humor, dark humor in that. So let's catch up here.
Good evening, thrown by your o'clock change. Oops, and sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Lucy, but yeah, it's life. Not much we can do about that, right? Yeah, Joe, particularly at 3 a.m. because that was it. I was pretty much awake.
Yeah, well, it was bothering me too at that point in time, and I don't know if I mean, I should have just left it till the morning for your morning shock.
Well, you sent me an email.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, it would have been my morning shock because then the next thing is you'd be up because I'd be coming upstairs while you're snoring away and go, wake up. What's this about Dennis? So, whatever.
Well, I sent you a copy of the obituary.
Yeah, I know. I read it and everything, but she's just, that's how those things happen. Okay, so let's talk about rude and demanding people, shall we? Okay. I had a couple of emails this week from people I don't really know. They're probably people, well, they were generated from my YouTube channel, and which is fine. But sometimes I think people think that I work for them. This one particular email, I'm not going to mention the person. In fact, I don't even know who the person is because the person didn't sign the email. And I couldn't figure it out from the email address. So I don't know who it was. But they'd seen something on one of my videos. I'm not even sure where. And they demand it. They demand it. That I should show them how to do this, this, and that, and a whole bit. And I need to do videos about that. And I'm actually being polite in the way I'm wording it right now, because that's not how they worded it. And they sent me a second one. Again, which was a different question, but it's not a question, it's a demand. And I get that sometimes. I get them in the comment section too. And, now maybe it is because people don't realize when they write something because words sometimes can convey a feeling that it may not be what you wanted it to convey. So you have to be careful because we don't have any contextual clues. Like if we're having a conversation, we're face to face or even on a Zoom or something. If you say something, I can read your what are you sniffing about?
Nothing. I'm bored. It's just John. So go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Whatever. If you have a contextual, like their face, and you can see them, when somebody might be joking or somebody isn't being that serious or whatever. But when they write something, and I'm not the only one that's been finding this. I did a little research, and I've been finding that other YouTube creators are finding this lately too. But not only that, just not on YouTube. We went into Ultimate Sewing on was it Saturday? No, Friday.
Friday, yeah.
We went into Ultimate Sewing on Friday, and we're talking to the owner, to Shirley. And Shirley was saying that what's happening with people. She says she has customers come in the store, and they're being rude. They're being demanding. One lady came in and wanted to know something.
Something about one of the machines or something like that.
Yeah.
And the owner told her what about the machine, and the customer actually called her a liar and said that
called her a liar
and said that that's not right.
So why are you asking a question if you have all the answers to it? She was very upset with that, and she says that's not the first one. She was saying that day there seemed to be all of the complainers and that were in the store at once, but they're just rude, like I talk about. If somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to do, like this thing with the bath through the window, I don't immediately go for their jugular. The first time I'm polite about it. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to see what they're going to say about, what the problem is, how they're going to fix it, and I take them at their word. If they don't live up to their word, then I escalate it. I'm still not chopping off their head. But if it went too much further, then I get very annoyed. But I don't turn around and say, "Well, you're stupid and you don't know what you're talking about. You're a liar." No, no. I really felt bad for Shirley, with that, because she's very, very helpful.
Well, actually, Shirley mentioned that last week. She says it was a full moon last week, so all the crazies.
Yeah, the crazies are coming out, but there's no excuse for the crazies. It's just, again, someone said earlier, it's just common courtesy, kind of a thing. But then I have found that too. I belong to several different groups online, and there was somebody talking about online some problems that this person was having with their doing something and wanted suggestions. So a bunch of us gave this person suggestions, and every suggestion that was given was poo-pot. Not because they had tried the suggestion, but because they said, no, that's not going to work because that's not what I'm doing. That's not that. So why did you ask for help if you're not going to take the help or be serious
or at least
about it?
at least take it into consideration?
Yeah, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So I don't get that, why people are being that way. But in the general public too, I have heard this on different YouTube channels and things, just in general in society. People, since the pandemic, have become much more belligerent when they're dealing with other people. Like, people are arguing with checkout people in a grocery store about stuff. Well, those people right now in this country, we're going through, well, other countries are too, price of food has gone sky high and everything like that. And yes, you're very irritated when you go in and have to take out a small mortgage to be able to buy a loaf of bread and some milk. Okay. But it's not the cashier's or the checking out person's fault for that. They don't have any say over that kind of thing. So why are people lashing out at them? Well, I guess because they're there. Everybody's at their wits' end about this kind of stuff. Let's see, what are people saying here? Ooh, lots of things here. Mozilla's here. Hello, all. Income tax done. Oh, good for you, Mozilla. Hope you're getting lots back. Derek says his neighbor keeps volunteering for things as she is so lonely since she retired and wants to socialize with more people, but then she is always too tired for being too busy. Difficult compromise. Yeah, I can see that. Walter, question for you from Barb. How did you find out about it?
I just stumbled across it. I was looking around for something else, and then all of a sudden this popped up. I saw his face pop up, and I clicked on it, and I go, oh yeah, Dennis, and it came up. It was his obituary that came up. So yeah, you gotta know me. I do all kinds of
He
research on
reads
it.
obituaries.
Yeah, I do that too. So.
My father was the same way. I'd go over to my parents' place or something to see them. My
But
father says,
actually,
well, guess who was dead this week?
In this particular case, I wasn't looking for an obituary. So
there's a first for everything. Some people read a novel. Other people read obituaries. Green Quilt says, I'm looking forward to the upcoming retreat. The last one was wonderful and the guest speakers were great. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I suspect you'll enjoy this one as well. Frances says she skimmed through an article the other day about a study in the 30s. They compared the study to retirement. It said that many retirees' fear is social isolation. Yes, I can see that. However, I do feel, since when the pandemic struck, I have felt a little bit isolated, but thank goodness for Zoom. And that's one of the reasons why I do the pop-up so days and craft and chat. And
it's not only that, it's not just social, it's socializing with people that you wouldn't normally socialize with. Like, you're seeing people from all over the country and all over the United States and all over the world.
Yeah.
Where those people that you would never come in contact with.
Yeah. I mean, we're socializing right now. with this, with the live too. So yeah. And I was used to being in a very social environment when I was working, okay? Like
Yeah,
literally
I
hundreds
was.
of people every day I'm dealing with. You know, kids, teachers, administrators, support staff, custodians, bus drivers, you know, the whole bit, cops. Um, that kind of thing. Julie says some people are luckier than Dennis. My mother-in-law's former co-workers drove 4 hours to visit her in her memory care facility every few months. She had Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can get Alzheimer's too, but is that better if you get drop dead from a heart attack?
Yeah, well, Julie says there are a lot of untreated mental health cases watching and commenting on your YouTube videos. One of them found you, I guess. Yes, Julie, that is true. You can tell too on some of the comments that do come up, you know, that person has deeper issues than just, you know, I just happen to be in the way at that moment. And I get that. And there seems to be quite an increase since the pandemic of a lot more people with, you know, mental health issues.
Well, not only that, there are people will tend to complain over the internet easier and be nastier than they would if they were face to face.
Yeah. Jan says, yeah, like you telling me I'm 85 and you're going to chop my leg off. Just so rude. I wouldn't have to be rude if you actually owed up to how old you are.
In the case of you, Jen, if he meets you face to face, he'd tell you the same thing face to face.
I would. But I mean it in the most positive way, Jan. Yeah. Her emojis say it all. Karen says, was full moon last week. All the crazies come out. Yeah. Oops.
A quiet place.
Quiet place. I think social media has bred rude people because, in my theory, they don't think they can be held responsible for their comments. They're faceless. Yeah. Anonymity. Being anonymous. That's the word I want. Yeah. Because they don't really know you, you don't know them, and so they feel like suddenly they can say whatever they want because there aren't any consequences.
And you don't have a baseball bat with them.
No.
In few meters of them. So.
There would be something. I wonder if we could invent a virtual baseball bat or something that would just shock you through your keyboard when you were being rude. Oh, yeah. We'd make a mint on an app like that. We can call it Slap the Bitch app. Patricia says, hi, Patricia. I've watched your video several times. You're very delightful. Oh, I'm delightful. Oh, and delicious.
Oh, good.
I'm delightful. All this, don't you think I'm delightful?
Glad she likes you. She can take you home.
Yeah, pick one of these. That's the one. All the self-isolation over the last years with internet being the main communication, people lost their filters. Yeah, very true. And Derek says the pandemic and more online interaction seems to have made people think that their rude keyboard warrior persona is somehow now accepted in the real world. Yeah. Well, you know, I often wonder if you were to meet that person face to face, would they actually say those things to you face to face? I'll bet you 9 times out of 10 they would not, because they'd be fearful of how you would react physically to it. Because speaking of crazy people, you know, you don't really want to honk your horn at somebody who just cut you off on a road or a highway, because there are reports of those people stopping their car, stopping you, getting out and pulling out a crowbar and smashing your windows or you. So yeah, it is a rude world that we are living in. Sherlock says, I quit my retail job because of the meanness from customers. Oh, I know what that is like. And that was back a few years ago when I was working in retail, when I first retired, because Walter was still working and basically I wasn't quilting at that point and I needed to get out of the house and see people. Well, I got over that. I think Andy's not on here right now. Is Andy here? Did I see Andy on here?
No, I didn't say. No,
no, Jeannie's here.
But...
Jeannie's sister Andy always says that's why she likes dogs better than people. And I agree with her at times. Sly says, oops, I hate Magic Mouse. I agree customer service has gone down. I'm intentionally extra pleasant, but that doesn't seem to matter. They're rude and hostile. Yep. And you know, it's happening probably out of self-defense, but you see those signs, right, in a lot of stores now saying rudeness or something that will not be tolerated, you know, kind of a thing. I just find that sign rude. Because they're making an assumption that everybody that's coming in there, they're setting an atmosphere with a sign like that. They're inviting people to be rude, because some people would look at those signs and go, this is a challenge. So, I don't know. Mozilla says, no extra sewing money for me. Always got to cough up dollars. Yeah, I know. My aunt still sends me photographs of obituaries from the local newspaper up in the Highlands. She seems to think I will remember them all after 25 years away. Yeah. It's an old people thing, I think. Walter's old. He likes obituaries.
I've always looked at the obituaries.
I know, but you're kind of sadistic. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't socialize at all if I wasn't for your channel and a couple letters. I'm very reclusive. Yeah, well, this is the one thing about technology, right? That's helping, I think, in that way. Oh, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl was coordinating her social calendar with my quilting friends. Oh, la-di-da, she has a social calendar. Well, how's that working out, Cheryl? Just kidding. Lydia, I love Zoom these days. Found my tribe. Yep, I am. My mental health took a huge toll because of COVID. Yeah, and I don't think you're alone, Em. Lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think it was probably hardest on those people who tended to be very, very social and used to being outside of their house all the time, whether it be at their work or, out with friends and doing stuff like that. And then suddenly we had all that cut off, everything shut down. We're locked in our house. And also I think that divorce rates went up as well, because, even though somebody might have been with somebody for like 25 years or whatever, being trapped in a house with them with no escape, that probably was a bit of a problem. Too. Since the pandemic, I've noticed the whining at work about things nobody can change has definitely increased. Exhausting, listen to. Just do your job. Yeah, Julie, I have to admit too that I find myself doing that too. You turn on the news. Well, there's the first mistake. Don't watch the news, because there's never anything good on it. And it's the same story over and over. There's a war with Russia and the Ukrainians. There's corrupt politicians. Prices are going sky high. Everybody is after everybody else for this and the other thing. I mean, maybe it's just best to turn off all video and read a novel or something. I don't know. Quilt. Brenda says, I enjoy the sessions. Otherwise, I'm just watching YouTube, sitting in my room, working on projects I bring with me. I go out for the sunsets as it's not so hot. Yeah, it gives us something else to do, doesn't it? Joe says, delightful isn't quite the word. Yeah, I wouldn't use that with me either.
Jeannie says Andy's there.
Oh, is Andy there? Hi, Andy. Didn't see it. Quiet place. Oh, no. Francis says, Lydia, what is Zoom Sew Days? You get together with a bunch of other people using Zoom and you sew. That's what I have. That's my craft and chat. That's the pop-up sew day. That kind of sewing with Stephanie and Steven. All those things are all done by Zoom, and we just work on whatever we're working on. We chat while we're doing it, or if someone has a problem with something and they need some help, we share ideas, inspiration.
Yeah, like the retreats and everything are done on Zoom.
Yeah.
So, and that's what a Zoom Sew Day is.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is. Now, my retreats are a little bit of an upgrade from a usual craft and chat, because I have special guest speakers, and I have prizes too and things like that. It's a little bit more special than just how I usually do craft and chat and pop-up sew days. But they're always fun, and I always learn something, and I usually end up spending money too, because people enable me. They show me something, go, ooh, I want that. Cheryl says, works out great as long as I'm not watching my grandson's quilting events. My grandson's quilting events and vacations take priority over babysitting. Oh, wait. Works out great as long as I'm not watching my grandson's - quilting events and vacations take priority over babysitting. Yep. Lydia says, ask Stephen to add you to his mailing list so you'll get an email when he has a Zoom Sew Day. Hope to see you there sometime. Yeah, Lydia, or Francis, just my email address is in the show notes for this video and all my videos. Just send me a note, let me know, and I will add you to my mailing list. And when I have a pop-up sew day or I'm having a craft and chat and that, I always send out, or even the retreat, I'll send out a notice to you and it'll come right to your email box. Cheryl says she stopped watching the news when Trump was president, only watch the weather now. Yeah. Although I have to admit, it was hard to take your eyes away from the TV anytime that Trump was there, because you just want to see what kind of asshole thing he would do next. But anyways, can anyone join in on Zoom days? Yes, Francis, of course. For the low monthly payment of $99.99 American, you can join. No, it's free. Yes, of course. All are welcome. And you don't have to stay the whole day either. You can come and go as you please. You can come a little bit later. You don't have to be right there when it starts. It's very loosey-goosey with the whole way. But yeah, all are welcome. Judy says, what is spray starch use? What? I don't use spray starch. Do you use spray starch?
No.
No. Now occasionally I will use something called Acorn Precision Pressing Solution. If I have a stubborn seam that just won't lie down, press the way I want it to press, and I'll give it a little squirt of that, and that works out very well. But I mean, that's kind of that question, although it seems simple, opens up a whole can of worms, because there are people who swear by starching everything before they quilt or sew. And there's other people that say they only use it when they've got a piece of fabric that might be a little limp and they want a little extra help with it. I'm one of those kind of people. I seldom use any kind of starch or starch alternative on my stuff unless there's a problem. Also, I learned something really interesting the other day, and I didn't know this. Apparently, and I think it was Stephanie that said this, that if you use spray starch on a piece after you've pieced it together, say a block, when that spray starch dries, it can actually shrink your block a little bit. So your block won't be the finished size that it needs to be. And I did not know that. So that was a good piece of information as well. But there is that's a whole topic for another day. Jen says, I best press all fabric and it has made a big difference. I started with best press. You use best press occasionally, don't you?
Occasionally, on rare occasion, yeah.
But it makes me sneeze or cough. I don't know why.
Doesn't bother me. I like the smell of it, but...
Oh, is that why you go around the house with it up your nose?
No.
Oh, well, man, I've got a little best press up my nose on high. Stephanie says, yes, if you are going to starch, do it ahead or you don't do it at all. Yeah. So, yeah, hope that answered your question, Judy. Okay, so, anyways, what else? Oh, I have an interview for next week. I don't think she's on here today, but it's Abby Henderson from Purple Cottage Crafts, and that'll be coming out on Tuesday. And this one is breaking away from what I usually do in my interviews. I usually interview somebody who's primarily a quilter. She is not. She's but she's a textile artist, and she makes journals, and she uses old vintage lace and fabrics, and she ages some things, and her creations are fantastic. And it's a great interview. So something a little different, but I think something you are going to be really inspired by. And I think it's also, there's some techniques and inspiration there that I think you could use in your own quilting as well. So that'll come out on Tuesday. Joe says that's why it's recommended to starch before you cut your pieces. Yeah. And Cheryl says, I know professional quilters that will starch on wavy borders to get them to behave. Yeah. Well, I have done that too on like a block that was giving me trouble. Somehow it got a little stretched out of shape. Probably because pieces of it were cut on in the bias, and you got to be careful with that. And I have used like that one I was telling you about, Acorn Precision Pressing Solution, to try and Like I pinned it to my wool mat and trying to like manipulate the fabric because it was a little bit skewy with it. That sort of worked, but it didn't work all that well. Um, Stephanie says that's a great tool for long armors. Oh, okay. You spray starch before you cut, Linda says. It will shrink one way more than the other way. Yeah. Judy says, I love junk journal videos. The people who make them are very creative with repurposing ephemera. Yeah. I used to make junk journals too, back in my paper crafting days. So yeah. Well, you're gonna love that interview because she's got some really interesting stuff. And wait till you see what's going to become her studio. You're just going to die. It's huge. It's a building. And I forget what she said, how big it was. It's like 40 feet by like 30 feet or something. It's just immense as well. So yeah, we should all have places like that. Okay, so anything you want to talk about? It's your turn to bore me.
No.
Well, it didn't take much. Yeah. All right. So, recap. What's coming up next week? Well, I've got my special video coming out on Monday about the retreat. All the details there will be there with it. My vlog, the Idiot Quilter episode. There will be an interview with Abby Henderson from Purple Cottage Crafts. On Friday, there'll be another sew and chat. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Actually, I do sort of have an idea, but I haven't bounced it off Walter yet. And then we'll have then we have the pop-up sew day on Saturday. Link is in the show notes, and those of you that are on my mailing list, I'll be sending that out tomorrow on Monday to you, so you'll have the link right there in your mailbox for you. And yeah, lots of things coming up, and I got to finish my placemats for that table runner, and you got to put buttons on a shirt.
I gotta finish putting the shower door in.
That's important too. Be nice to have a shower in there without having to use the other bathroom. Okay, so we'll let everybody go. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see everybody next week at some point. Oh yeah, Stephanie, so with Stephanie and Steven on Wednesday morning too as well, starting at 9 o'clock for an hour and a half. So yeah, so many things, so little time. Okay, everybody, have a good week. We'll talk to you later. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.
Bye, all.